This is Dominic. In this video tutorial, I want to talk to you about one type of reading question in IELTS, paragraph heading matching. What I'm going to do is talk you through some problems, which you see here, then suggest some solutions, and also get you to think about the types of skills you need. Then, once I've done that, I'm going to try and show you an exercise to demonstrate all these things. First of all, the ideas. Okay, three main problems I see. There's a lot of text. These questions are harder than some other questions, perhaps because you need to read whole chunks of a text. By that I mean 5, 6, 7 paragraphs. That is a time problem. And something else I say there is being inefficient. What I think often goes wrong is that because you think you need to read a lot, you read very quickly, and quick is not always good. You want to read quickly and well. And so people are sometimes inefficient in how they read here. They may go quickly, but not in the right way. Second problem is there are similar headings very often. A lot of the headings look the same. That is confusing. And third problem is a problem I think a lot of candidates have, in that they find one skill or one strategy that they think is good and works. And they use that all the time. And they overuse it. Now, very often these strategies can be good, most of the time. But if you want to get better and to be good all of the time, then you have to think about using different reading skills, different reading strategies. I'm always very doubtful about one answer solutions for IELTS. It's almost always a case where you need to do different things. Okay, those are the problems. Let's think about some solutions. One problem was reading inefficiently. Very simple solution, learn to read more efficiently. You don't read the whole text closely, but you read it in different ways. Second solution is to understand this. Where do you find the main meanings in paragraphs? If you can learn to do that, then you will start to read more efficiently, because you don't have to read the whole text closely, just parts of it. You learn to understand which part of a text you will find the answer. And then linked to that is decide which words you are going to be looking for. This means being more precise, being more careful in how you read. When you're reading, you're looking for certain words. Problem is, those words may not be the identical words as in the question, just similar words. So, problems and solutions. Now let's think about some skills. What I say here is not one skill: skimming, scanning, close reading. To do this type of exercise well, you need all three skills really, in a particular way. And I'm going to try and demonstrate that to you in a moment with an exercise. And what I want to emphasize here is scanning, which means looking for words, is not the only skill you need. You also, I believe, need some skimming skills. Certainly sometimes. Skimming is reading for general meaning. And then one skill I'm positive you need is close reading. Close reading is when you just stop and read slowly and carefully. And you need that skill when you're looking at the questions, most of all. And other comment is, be flexible. Don't concentrate on one solution answers. They may work briefly for a short time with some questions, but if you do that, you will stop learning. You'll fail to answer the harder questions. Okay, there's the theory. Now let's try and look at a practice exercise to see how it is done. Okay, here I am looking at an exercise from IELTS.org, the official site. We have here 9 headings, 5 paragraph or sections, not paragraphs, sections. You have to match them. Now, section A, section B, section D, section E. A lot to read. Step 1, I believe, is look through the headings here to give you an idea of the text. And you'll see environmental impact, farming, government policy, environment, governments, farming, food, government, trade. Just by doing that, you should now have a good idea, just very quickly, of knowing what the text is about. It's farming, trade, government, policy, environment. And also by doing that, you can start to delete some words as being more important words. Farming there, farming there. Sorry, farming there, farming here. Now, words which come in many headings may be tricky words. So be careful now. You now know that if you see farming in one paragraph, it may not be the key word because it's in different headings. And we can say the same about governments. Government, government, government. So look first at the headings, gives you a general idea of what it's about, but it also helps avoid confusion. You now know that government and farming may be difficult words, confusing words. They may not be the key words. Now, the logical next thing to do is just look at each section and decide which one it matches best. Tip here is match the paragraph, or try to match the paragraph against all the headings. That will stop you making silly mistakes. You may say, this one, 4, it looks quite good, but in fact, 8 is better. It will take a little bit of time, but big suggestion is take some time. Match all the paragraphs against the headings. You will avoid mistakes that way. Now, very often you find the main meanings of paragraphs in the first sentence or maybe the first 2 sentences. Why? Because this is how we write. We start with a topic sentence saying, this is what the paragraph will be about. Not all the time, but very often, this is how IELTS questions work. And so, governments, environmental management difficult, and managing resources. Those are the words I would focus on. So now, probable effects on the new international trade agreement, don't think so. The environmental impact of modern farming, don't think so. Farming and soil erosion, don't think so. Ooh, government, here's a possibility. Policy-rich countries. So I'm going to say little tick, maybe yes. Governments and management of the environment, very possible. Now, I think yes, it could be. Important step, go and check again. Don't move too quickly. Governments, management, environment. Governments, environmental management. We're done. And the thing to note here is we've read this part, we haven't read all of that. We're focusing our reading. We're not trying to read everything. We're saving time. But let's be careful. Let's see if there's anything else here. Never go too quickly. Poor countries, food output. And reading through down here very quickly, and this is a scan reading, I'm looking for words. Am I seeing poor countries? No. Am I seeing food output? No. So now I'm going to say A is 6. Oh, no, sorry. I'm going to say A is 5. My mistake. And I got it right. What about section B? Let's have a quick look at section B. No activity affects more of the Earth's surface than farming. It shapes a third of the planet's area, not counting Antarctica, and the proportion is rising. New international trade, no. Environmental impact, modern farming, I'm not seeing very many matches there. Farming and soil erosion, Government policy rich countries, no. We know it's not 5, we deleted that. Effects on poor countries, Antarctica, maybe. Farming and food output, not seeing very much there. Though, no, not very much. The effects of government policy on food output. Ooh, food output, 2 similar ones. New prospects for world trade. Nothing about world trade. Now, the system hasn't worked. And this is a key point. As I say, you need to be flexible. Some of these are harder than others. Sometimes it's not always the first sentence. What we need to do here is use our skimming skills. Read for general meaning. It's not always the first sentence. So I skim very quickly, skim and scan, looking for keywords. Ooh, food output. I recognise that from the headings. Higher yields, increased irrigation, pesticides, chemical fertilizers, land already in cultivation, cultivated land, farming. So, farming and food output, that's possible now, yes? And I found that simply by skim reading, not just looking at the first sentence. Sometimes you need to do this. But which one is it? Is it this one, farming, or the effects of government policy? Now I'm looking for, here, words like government and policy very quickly. Look how quickly I'm going. And I see nothing. And its answer is actually here, 7. So, brief little recap for you. A lot of text, problems, don't be inefficient. Similar headings, being confused. Don't use one skill or strategy. What I hope I've demonstrated to you there is that there are solutions to those problems. Read efficiently, not the whole text. Start with the first sentences, but just start with them. That's the point here. You get the main meanings very often in the first sentence, but not always the first sentence. and think about which words to look for. Look for words in the question, but maybe words which mean the same thing. So cultivation, farming, similar meanings. Don't get stuck on looking for individual words, identical words. And the skill is not a skill. It's a combination of different skills, skimming and scanning, and close reading. If you can do those flexibly, I'm convinced you'll learn to do these questions much better. Good luck.